Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Izzo.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. What happens when a game is delayed by the launch of the space shuttle? That's what happened yesterday. This is Florida and Stetson we're playing in DeLand, Florida, where you could see the Gator outfielder started pointing, and there goes Artemis 2 launching into the atmosphere. Honestly, apparently these happens a heck of a lot more often in DeLand than any other place in Florida, so they were used to it apparently, but not for the Gator outfielders yesterday to see the space shuttle launch. I'll be honest, we watched it at home yesterday. The Jackman right now is on the astronomy kick, which if it goes beyond that, more power to him. I told him it's a heck of a lot of math, but he seems to be welcoming that. That was pretty cool yesterday. And with that, we say good morning and welcome to our show here on a snowy Thursday, April the 2nd, 2026. It is here. But shout out to our great chief meteorologist, Jesse Rickett. Last night, I'm watching the news and seeing what the weather forecast is going to be and, grumbling to myself that I nearly put the snowblower away, which I didn't. But we get an email sent inside the station, inside the newsroom on, hey, what we're working on, what's coming up next. It's kind of always we're forwarding, we're looking ahead. And lo and behold, Jesse always puts out what's going on weather-wise. And then she added this in capital letters, which is probably directed at me, even though it's not. Last April began with 4 days of snow as well. Fargo got nearly 7 inches in 2025. Grand Forks had 3. It didn't snow again after that. And then I sat there. I'm like, I have no recollection at all of it snowing that much to start April. So another chapter of getting old continues with grousing about the weather, and then, wait a minute, it did the exact same thing at this time last year. So, be that as it may, it's here. It's going to be here for a few days, and then hopefully it melts and gets out of here, because I know for our spring sports brethren here, they're ready to go. They've been ready to go for probably 2 weeks, considering how nice it's been outside. So, for baseball and softball, golf certainly, soccer, lacrosse, you're staring at the walls. We're ready to get outside, and unfortunately it's not going to happen for the next little bit. But hopefully by maybe the end of next week we're doing stuff outdoors. I just can remember not that long ago we had a spring that was horrendous. We didn't get outside till May, which, again, will save my annual move the spring sports season back at least a few weeks rant. At least till the middle of April, because it just doesn't make any sense of how early we start things in North Dakota. That being said, we're ready to rock and roll here on a busy Thursday. Lot to get to today, including much more. The news that broke yesterday on the Bison wrestling team moving to the Pac-12. Obe Blanc's going to join us this morning to give us the lowdown on this and why the Bison are leaving the Big 12 and heading to the Pac-12, which you could see as a maybe competitive move down, but perhaps a chance for NDSU to be more successful at wrestling. We'll give that coming up later on in the show. Also, West Fargo football has just its second head coach in the last 36 years. Jay Gibson, of course, resigned this fall under maybe inauspicious circumstances, but they have their next head coach coming from the EDC. You'll meet him coming up later on in the show. Also, in my hand, just because it was spurred on by a conversation that we had yesterday inside the station, we will try our best to explain, because it's happening right now across the country. Again, if they would televise, it'd be the coolest thing. The college football TV draft is underway, and now it actually affects us in Fargo. because North Dakota State will be part of said draft since they're now an FBS school. Past the FCS would just, hey, whatever week that's on, maybe we'll pick them. That is not the case anymore. So we'll try to explain that the best that we can. Also, later on in the show, back by popular demand, Eric Bennell's food takes. I don't think he knows this, but after rave reviews of his goulash takes that he had a couple years ago, which we still get feedback from, baseball has put out every year. Different teams put out. The Twins have their home opener tomorrow. Fingers crossed. I don't know if that's going to happen. With the different food selections that they have, we will feature some of them coming up later on in the show. So we're going to span the different sports as we normally do each and every day. We'll start with the Twins last night. Now, if you dare watch the start of the game, more power to you, because by about 7:30, this was ugly with a capital U. And I'm not talking about the weather, because the weather wasn't very good either. The Twins playing Game 2 against Kansas City after a day off. Joe Ryan was starting yesterday. That didn't matter because the Royals had some fun. Again, that's not your TV screen. It was foggy. It was murky. It was bad. And I'm not talking about the weather. It was Joe Ryan on the mound and getting ripped early on this hit from Isaac Collins to start things to make it a 1-0 Kansas City lead. Jason Isbell will add to it. Remember, he had a home run on Monday. Opposite field hitting. We like that. 2-0 Royals in the second. Not done. Later in the inning, Kel Garcia with a base hit off the glove of Brooks Lee. It's 3-0 all Royals in the second. Jonathan Indian up at the plate. This also explains the night. Royce Lewis going to the Damiso School of Infielding has no idea where the ball is. Between the lights, the fog, it falls in. Jonathan India comes in. He's saved. Vinny Pasquantino scores. It's 4-0. 5-0 now in the fifth before Brooks Lee gets the... I mean, literally, this is like the old Soldier Field game with the Eagles and the Bears. That's a base hit to score Lewis. It's 5-1. Now in the sixth, Ryan's out of the game. Gotta love a bases loaded. I mean, that's not even close. I mean, literally, it was on the other side of the strike zone. It's 8-1 when this ball is hammered by Jonathan India for a grand slam. You think he got all of that one? Who's even pitching in this game for the Twins? It's 12-1 Kansas City through 6 innings. And if you stuck through it here, more power to you. It's 12-2 when the Twins put a rally together. Luke Keyshaw comes up with a double in the top of the seventh to score Royce Lewis and Brooks Lee. It's now 12-4. Royals would add another on an Isbell home run to make it 13-4. How about a little Josh Bell sighting? It's 13-6. Again, this is all just eye candy because the game was well decided. A 3-run home run in the ninth. I mean, Bell's going to do that. That's why they added him, because he can crush the ball like that. Made it 13-9. Twins got 2 more on. I mean, look how bad the infield is. Call the game, everybody. They did there. That was the final out. Kansas City has won the first 2. The Twins are now 1-4 on the season. 13-9 the final last night. Tough night for Joe Ryan. 4 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 3 strikeouts. His ERA goes above 4.5. Cody Lawyerson is never going to recover from this. He was the guy who was pitching, by the way, who the ball was thrown the opposite strike zone. Inning and a third, 2 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned. His ERA is now over 20. That will never go down. If it gets around 5, he's done an amazing job the rest of the year. Noah Cameron was the starting pitcher who got the win for the Royals. Finale comes up later today, just after 1. Taj Bradley makes his second start. Cole Reagans, who's been really good. He was excellent last year. Lefty will go for Kansas City. More on that coming up later on in the show. But it's 1-4. Defense is bad. Bullpen is bad. I know where we're at. It's the 2nd of April. but this is what was expected. I'd love to be wrong on it, but unfortunately, everything that we thought about the baseball team is exactly what is laid out here through the first 5 games of the year. That their bullpen was going to be bad, that is accurate. Their defense may be bad. That has been proven correct so far as well through the first 5 games of the year. And again, they have 157 more of these to go. So baseball is the easiest to overreact to since they play every day and then can turn things around. But I don't foresee that with this baseball team. Just that this is what they put together. I mean, there's a reason, I think, why Derek Falvey walked away. You know, that happened in that same day when the Vikings fired Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and that got, I think, overshadowed that day because it's the Vikings and they swallow up all the oxygen when anything happens like that. But Falvey stepping away should have been, again, another bright red flashing light in regards to what this baseball team is going to have happen here. Just a little backstory here on Ryan. Uncharacteristic outing, especially when he pitches against the Royals. He entered Wednesday with an 8-1 record and a 2.02 earned run average and 11 career starts against Kansas City. Though he also gave up 5 runs when he faced the Royals last September. So the last 2 outings against Kansas City, not been great. More defensive mistakes. Just, you saw the Brooks Lee one, the Royce Lewis one. Those are the plays you got to make. You have to make those plays. You're in the major leagues for a reason. You've got to do that. I get it. I lost plenty of balls in the lights. At least I claim that. Or plenty when you lost, couldn't see it in the sun. No, you just never saw it off the bat. And those allowed runs to score. And then before you know it, there's a grand slam, and the game is well over after that. So that's where they're at with game number 3 of that series with the Royals. And then they're home potentially. We know what the weather forecast is for up here. It doesn't look much better down Twin Cities way. That potentially they could play, at least from what I've heard, tomorrow. If you have plans to go Saturday, I might make other plans. I don't know if they're going to do that. And granted, I think this is Tampa's only trip to Target Field. So they either got to find a way to play a doubleheader on Sunday or find an opening in the schedule later in the year where Tampa can come back in and play, because the Twins have Detroit coming into town for a 4-game set right after that. So this is what happens early in the year. You got to finagle a way to get some games in. We have a packed show coming up for you here today. Excited about our guest lineup, which is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Coming up in just a few minutes, about 9:45, you'll meet the new head football coach in West Fargo. Eric Peterson will join us. That's Andrew Hauglin. What's Andrew Hauglin getting on our screen for from the forum? He'll love that. He wrote the story on Eric Peterson. I covered Eric when he played at Fargo Davies High School. It makes me feel extremely old. Went to Northern State. He's been assisting with Wayne Weremeyer for the last little bit, last 8 years, I want to say. So now he'll be taking over as head coach. So we'll visit with Eric coming up at 9:45. At 10 o'clock, Sam Goetzinger will join us. Excited to have Sam back in studio. He's actually up at Bison football practice as we speak. The Bison were going early today, so we'll get some fresh thoughts from Sam after the Bison wrap up second week of spring ball. That's at 10. And at 10:35, NDSU wrestling head coach Obe Blanc will join us. As we mentioned yesterday, the news, the North Dakota State wrestling team on its way to the Pac-12 conference next season, why they decided to leave the Big 12 after 11 seasons there, and what the prospects are of going to this new league, joined with South Dakota State, with Northern Illinois, with Air Force, some friends that they know. We'll discuss that with Obi coming up at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Thursday morning. Hot Mic is off and rolling. We come back, you'll hear from Todd McShay, NFL draft guru, on Cole Payton, and we'll get into how the Bison games will be picked for TV this fall. That's coming up when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. This is from just a few weeks ago. We were up at NDSU's indoor practice facility on Bison Pro Day when Cole Payton was zinging it out there, completed 52 of 54 passes that day. In front of 28 NFL teams. There's a large consensus. We had Fernando Mendoza did his pro day yesterday that he's going to be the number one pick in the draft. The Indiana national champion quarterback and Heisman Trophy winner will go to the Raiders. Ty Simpson, who's coming out early, the Alabama QB, likely going to be QB2. Then after that, the debate is on. And the debate isn't just happening here in Fargo. It's happening across the country, including with a couple of national guys you're going to hear from in a second on debating on when Cole Payton can come off the board. And if you were to tell me this time last year we'd have this conversation, I'd say you're silly considering he's never thrown more than 6 passes in a game. I think he had 58 career pass attempts coming into last season. But 1 year certainly changed everything, and what he did at the Senior Bowl was part one. Combine certainly didn't hurt, and Pro Day was awfully darn impressive. To now where the former North Dakota State quarterback has risen to the part where he's getting argued over, not just like here locally, nationally. This is a clip. Todd McShay, formerly of ESPN, now has his own show on the Ringer Network, discussing this is where they believe Cole Payton could potentially go.
This is the guy I've been dying to talk about, Cole Payton, North Dakota State, Mensch. He's the most underrated quarterback in this class. And nationally, I just don't hear anything about Cole Payton. Conversations with NFL GMs, this is kind of the guy. This guy is drilling spots left and right, in the pocket, on time, off balance, pressure coming, extending. And I'm saying there's a lot of untapped stuff here. North Dakota State's had 5 guys drafted quarterback. I honestly can sit here and tell you he's the best of that group.
Better than Carson Wentz?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This is going to be an interesting day. Okay. You know who has 46 starts and is way more of a threat as a runner?
Taylon Green.
Taylon Green, dude.
Who I get, but I'm also telling you that the difference in tape, Mensch, is so drastic that
give me
when you're
a break. When you're at Arkansas going against SEC defenses and you're at FCS North Dakota State going against teams that have been gutted by the transfer portal, and you have one of the best receivers in the FCS running around like it's like recess football. Give me a break, man.
Taylon Green can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Not true.
On anticipation throws. I liked what I saw in the progression from him at the Senior Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something there. His combine workout was legendary.
Put Taylon Green in that beautiful North Dakota State uniform. Let him run around.
He's not completing 72% of his throws with a 4-to-1 touchdown interception.
In that offense, he might.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's absolutely not.
That was awesome. Anytime we hit broadside of the barn is one of my all-time favorite sayings there. So pretty heated discussion on the future for the Bison quarterback. And I think that's the real interesting part of the draft here, which we're 3 weeks from today. It begins in Pittsburgh, and we're not going to hear Cole's name 3 weeks from tonight. I don't think we're going to hear him 3 weeks from tomorrow night. Maybe that's the debate that McShay was having. And now Todd actually, I tweeted out what Jake Heaps told us, Cole's quarterback coach, was on the show. And if you missed it, go back and find our podcast or you can watch it. It was really good. It was really, really interesting to hear when we asked him about the different, I would say, negatives that are around Cole, and hearing it from, granted, he's his QB coach, but addressing exactly how he, the negatives around him, I thought was really, really impressive. McShay, I put out there that Heaps believes he's going to be the third quarterback taken, and McShay was all over that, saying, absolutely, this is a done deal. The NFL knows about him, perhaps not to the extent, because now we're in April. So you're going to have these, they got to fill time, right? They have these shows that they got to fill and talk about guys that you're going to hear, like, okay, who's going to be the number 3 quarterback drafted if Mendoza's 1 and Simpson is 2? Still haven't heard Cole's name brought up a whole lot. I mean, I'm not investing a ton of time in it yet. Perhaps that'll start now over the next few weeks, but to me, it still seems surprising that we're not hearing him maybe more than we thought we should. Like, same with Jack Strand, as we had Jack on the show yesterday discussing his NFL draft potential and what could be happening in just a few weeks' time with the former Dragon quarterback. Just for the record, Mel Kiper and Field Yates from ESPN have a new mock out today, a 3-round alternating one. It's April. It's mock draft season. It's literally a whole business, people. I know for those that just roll their eyes and like, just tell me when the draft is, I can respect that. They have Bryce Lance again at the end of the 3rd round. They have Bryce going with a 95th overall selection to the Patriots, saying Lance is a sudden vertical threat who has an easy speed and posted 2,139 yards and 25 touchdown catches over the past 2 seasons. He would provide quarterback Drake May with a pass catcher who strikes fear into defenses. They also have Garrett Nussmeier, quarterback from LSU, going in the 3rd round. Again, it's all going to be decided here in the not-too-distant future, but McShay said Peyton better than Carson Wentz. That might be the full stop moment there. Carson Wentz was drafted with a 2nd overall pick in the draft. And again, McShay was late on the Wentz bandwagon. I think he'd even admit that. Like, going into the Senior Bowl process, Carson was, I think Kiper had him at the end of the 1st round, which was the first time we saw Carson there. And then once the whole Senior Bowl combine thing blew up, he was then a top 5 pick. To say that they think he believes Wentz or Peyton is better than Carson Wentz is a dramatic statement there. Again, maybe that's for effect. Who knows? But if he honestly believes that, that's saying something from a guy who evaluates tape and does this. That's his job. That's what he gets paid for, is to project college guys going to the next level. So, interesting. We'll see. We'll find out here in just a few weeks. We are anticipating we're going to have Cole and Bryce Lance on our show prior to NFL Draft Week. So looking forward to that. Again, it's become a holiday around here because of what's gone on over the last 5 years with guys getting picked, whether it be Christian Watson, whether it be Coney Mauk. Obviously, we saw the big deal last year with Grace Abel going in the 1st round. It's just become habit when we get to late April, the NFL draft, and a guy from the Bison likely getting picked. Now, I wanted to set aside a couple minutes here, which we've got before we break, because we've reached April now, and happening behind closed doors on Zoom meetings, the different executives and high-ranking officials from every league, from whether it's the Big Ten, whether it's the ACC, SEC, the Mountain West Conference, are meeting with their said television partners to select the games for this upcoming college football season. Now, you'd be wondering, why is this relevant? Why do I care? Well, in the past, you wouldn't care, because in FCS, the home team dictates when the game is going to be played, and if there is said television partner, then they pair up like we have with North Dakota State over the last 5 years, and NDSU tells us when the game is going to be played, and then that's when the game is going to be on WDAY. That is not going to be the case starting this fall. So how it works is the first 3 weeks of kickoff times are set in late May. So right before Memorial Day, probably the week of the state tournament log jam that we have, we're going to find out the first 3 weeks of the season. There's a draft that is held right now. Like, Fox has first dibs with the Big Ten. And Fox is going to go and pick, all right, we want Ohio State, Michigan. That just goes without saying, right? And then ABC has, they have all the exclusive rights with the SEC network. ABC is going to say, okay, we want Alabama, Georgia, or give us Texas, Oklahoma, right? Those are the games being decided now. So the week-to-week assignment of start times is set by the television networks, which are seeking to maximize their revenue while operating within the preferences and contractual restrictions of the rights partners, the conferences, right? So the league also will say, and there's some other bylaws, which we'll get into in a second. I know it's a lot, but it's important for those understanding of how this gets picked. So the first 3 games, so when we get to late May, we're going to know the TV time and kickoff for NDSU Jacksonville State. We'll know the TV network and time for the Fordham game, and we'll know the TV network and time for the Bison game with Air Force, which I would already tell you it's probably going to be a night game, which we'll get to in a second. After that, then the rest of the season, it's a 12-day hold on games. So that means we won't know the rest of the schedule until 12 days out from that particular game. So NDSU plays its following game at Sacramento State. So 2 weeks out from that Monday, and it normally happens when we're on the air, is when we get the TV announcements for that particular week. Again, I know it is not conducive for the fan at home. They are not looking out for the fan at home. I'm going to tell you that right now. They are looking out for people to watch the game and how many people they think they can maximize to watch the particular game. I'm not going to get into the specifics of who picks a game first. I will tell you in the Mountain West, Fox is going to get first rights there. So Fox has, I believe, well, maybe CBS actually, because CBS gets the one game, potentially more, on CBS. They'll go through now and pick the games they want. And there might be games for later on in the season that come out in late May as well. It may not just be the first 3 weeks. Might be a game in week 6 or week 7, like when UNLV plays New Mexico, right? Well, CBS Sports Network wants that game, and they may move a game to a Friday as well. That's part of this too. So they go through their draft, and there also are some restrictions that schools will put out there, like for teams in the Mountain West time zone, or the Mountain time zone, excuse me, you're not playing it before 11 a.m., right? The 11 a.m. Central Time. So you're not playing games at 10 a.m. local. Colorado did that, you remember, a couple years ago? They had to get a waiver for that because ESPN wanted to put them on at that particular time because they wanted it on right after College Game Day. Well, College Game Day ends at 11 a.m. Central Time, which is 10 a.m. Mountain. That is early for a football game in a particular window. Now, this is a great point. Thanks to our friends at Sports Media Watch, because I emailed about this and I got a couple of really good responses. Because they said, why not just schedule the games when it's most convenient for fans? Well, of course, they're not going to do that because there's 43 networks that are televising games on top of streaming as well. But also, here's the other factors that go into trying to determine the schedule. ESPN2 doesn't air any games the first week of the season because they have the U.S. Open tennis tournament. So automatically that jumbles up everything. NBC can't have a Big Ten game in primetime when Notre Dame has a primetime game because they have first rights with that. So Notre Dame automatically goes there. This is something we ran into full tilt a few years ago. Arizona and Arizona State will only play night games at home in September due to the heat. We remember that. The Bison played in Tucson back in 2022. That was a 10 p.m. Central Time kickoff. Also, because there's no daylight savings time observance in Arizona, the schools are on Pacific time half the year and Mountain time the other half. Let's see. There's a couple other. Here's one that also affects us. The CW has to fit its ACC and Pac-12 games around its coverage of the NASCAR Xfinity Series and Live Golf. That's important for us now because the CW also has Mountain West football beginning this fall. So I know you may never have cared about the Xfinity Series or Live Golf, but now that may come into play when a Bison football game may kick off. I'm telling you, folks, it's a lot, I know, to take in. When you're looking at matchups as well, and this goes more to how a team is doing, they're going to look and evaluate, say, all right, well, down the road here, if the Bison game with Nevada, let's just take, for example, if Nevada is not very good, the Bison are, at that point, whatever, let's just take a number, 5-2, maybe that's a game that WDAY could get. Not saying that's a possibility, just throwing it out there. If the Bison are good, and as the season goes on, I would anticipate that both CBS Sports Network and FS1 is going to want to get on board. So for long-range planning, I know we're overdue for break. If you're looking to say, okay, I'm going to go to the game on Halloween because the Bison, I think, are playing UTEP. Couldn't tell you when that game's going to happen. You're not going to know until October the 19th. That's when you'll find out what time the game is kicking off. Could be at 11 a.m., could be at 2:30, just like we got used to. Could be at 5:30. Could be at 8 o'clock. That's the craziness of what the world they've gotten into. And we tried to explain that in February. I think now it's hitting home, and it certainly will in May once the games start coming out, at least for the early part of the season. We'll try and do the best FAQ we can on this as it goes along. But I know we got a few emails on that already, and off a couple of conversations upstairs because people are still kind of curious on it. There you go. Tried to explain that as best we could. All right, let's break. We come back. We're going to have some fun with some food. Get hungry about it because the ballpark food is out. We'll get a look at that when we come back on a snowy Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic, which returns after this. Welcome back, everybody. Never a good sign when in commercial break you can hear behind you the snowblower going. It's coming, though, and it's going to be heavy, so be careful out there over the next little bit. All right, so we're a few days into the baseball season. Twins have their opener at home supposedly tomorrow. This baseball is the only sport where as you go to the game, the actual ballpark becomes part of the experience with it. Like when you go to a football game, you're going to watch the game. The amenities matter little, right? You're there for the actual game. Basketball, hockey in the same boat. Baseball is unique like that, which is why it's great. And they have totally embraced also the part of the food element of it. I mean, there are certain I cannot recommend enough when you go to Philadelphia, if you ever go, that the lobster fries from Chicky and Pete's in the outfield at Citizens Bank Park are chef's kiss. They're the best. Pittsburgh, same. The chicken tenders there, amazing. I've had the chance to go to a few of these. The baseball is fine. The food element, though, can take it to the next level. Target Field's got some ones this coming year that are going to be intriguing, which we'll get to in all due time. But we needed to bring out our food connoisseur, one Eric Pinnell, who loves his food, because of your very popular goulash take that came back with, 3 stars for a few. Are you ready to look at these? Have you seen these before?
I've only seen the first one. That's
okay. So the other ones are brand new then?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what's all. I haven't looked at the video, so maybe there's some I've seen.
All right, so let's start with the first one up. This is from the Mariners. Seattle has debuted this, which looks rather interesting. Let me make sure I got my right tab up here. What do we make of that? We got chicken and fish on a boat. Got a little bit of everything on that. That'll work. What do you make of that?
That looks appetizing.
Yes.
I would eat it, especially the fish.
So you've got chicken tenders, fish and chips, crab nachos, and more. Comes in celebration of 75 years of the Washington State ferry system and 50 years of the Mariners. So you can get that at Mariners games this year. All right, next up, we have what the Red Sox are doing. We're keeping the seafood kind of deal. Boston is debuting what's called, I believe I have it on this tape, the lobster poutine at Fenway Park this year. This ballpark food will feature crispy fries, lobster meat, there it is, clam chowder, and crispy bacon, all served in a custom lobster boat. What do you make of this one? Would you dive into this?
I'm not a lobster person. I don't know. I would try it, but I don't know.
See, I've never had lobster, so I can't. Everyone says it's fantastic. I'm not highfalutin enough to have
Hang on.
lobster.
We got our food expert, Sam Goetzinger, behind me.
Oh, yeah. Here's another one. Oh, you've never had lobster? I've never had lobster. I've had crab. Yeah, I would eat it. All right.
Well, he'll eat anything.
Sam's on board with that. Okay, that's... I don't know the prices on any of these, but I got to imagine it's not cheap. That you get at Fenway Park if you decide to go this year. All right, next up, this might be my favorite name of any of the new foods out there. This is the machete. You can get this in Miami. It's a 2-foot homemade flour tortilla griddled on the flat top with melted mozzarella and cheeses, house-marinated carne asada, pepper sauce, salsa verde, and cilantro. How about this one? You on board? This is a lot of food. This is a ton
Yeah, I would eat this, but I would have to eat it with like a group. There's no way I'm eating that all by myself.
We could eat this over 9 innings, I guess, if you're there. You don't have to worry about a long line. It's the Marlins games. Nobody goes to the Marlins games, so you could have that. That's the machete, which is available in Miami.
I got
this
the
year.
lobster poutine price.
How much is that?
For a low price of $39, you can
$40.
$40.
$40.
That'd be the only trip to the concession stand I
that'd be
make.
one and done on that. Well, they're taking it that your gut is going to be full for the entire game. You won't have to worry to go back. The next one I think might be the most popular. This is from the Rockies. Donut pizzas this year with garlic butter, Parmesan, mozzarella, pepperoni, marinara sauce, pesto, and Italian seasoning. I would get this in a heartbeat. Absolutely. At a heartbeat at the Rockies games this year. This looks fantastic.
That does look good.
Right? That's
Now
pretty good.
You're making me hungry.
I'm telling you, man, this is what they have to do to get you to go to the game.
The machete food price is $26 to $28.
Oh, that's not bad.
No.
You could do that.
What was this one again?
This is
What's
from
it
the
called?
Rockies, donut pizzas at Coors Field this year.
I would hammer about 5 of these, depending on how big they are.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to tell size-wise, but those look pretty good. So, okay, you've had plenty of salt. Now you got to finish it off. You need something sweet. The Diamondbacks have you covered on that. Now, granted, Arizona's been pretty good, and they normally have a good team to watch, so it's not like, hey, you're just going for the food like you would for the Marlins or the Rockies or the Pirates this year. The Diamondbacks have this, a Take Me Out to the Ball Game shake. Salted caramel with whipped cream, peanut butter sandwich cookies, Kit Kat bars, and Cracker Jack. Now, I'm not a huge salted caramel guy. My wife loves salted caramel. I love Kit Kat, though, as everybody knows, that watches the show. Would you have this? Would you go down the dessert road with this?
Oh, yeah. I would eat everything. Salted, like the salted caramel, the Kit Kat. Is that Nutter Butters on top?
Yeah. Peanut butter sandwich. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Peanut butter sandwich cookies.
But I would
yes.
have to, again, you'd have to share it with somebody and probably would
You
finish.
don't have to share it.
Probably. Yeah, you would. You'd have gut rot at the end of the game.
There you go. That's give me the price on that when you have a second.
$17.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. So there you have it, folks. Those are the different foods out there.
Hang on. I
at
think
ball
there's
games.
one more in here.
What do you got? What else? I thought this was the last one I had on. Is there one
I don't
more?
know. I think you threw one
Oh,
more.
did I have one more? Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I do. There's one more on here. What's the last one?
Your dad, I think, would be disappointed.
Oh,
if
the
it wasn't.
Yankees one. Yes. So this is mind-bending. It's a chicken drumstick, but I believe it's ice cream. That's the thing. In a bucket. I got to imagine this is extremely expensive. It's drumstick-shaped ice cream with a chocolate-covered cookie bone center, a coating of white chocolate, and candied cornflakes served in a souvenir mini chicken bucket.
If you had to guess, how much you think this is?
Oh, my God. At Yankee Stadium? 35. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Not even close.
50?
It's way cheaper. It's $11.50.
Really? Wow. See, this freaks me out, though. I'm expecting chicken, not ice cream, if I'm going to eat that. That just, that bends my mind into a pretzel. I couldn't do that one.
All right, I got one more for you. I don't have a picture of it pulled up, but would you eat funnel fries?
Funnel fries?
Yeah, it's like funnel cake.
I would try it. Who's doing
the
that?
Brewers.
What else is in it, though?
It's basically a funnel cake with chocolate sauce.
Oh, yeah, I'd do that. How much?
I don't know. I haven't looked it up yet, but I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't get it when I was there this weekend.
What did you have? Did you try something different?
No, I had their nachos. Chickened out.
You got to go a little there. All right, let's break. When we come back, now that we're all starving, we'll wrap up our first hour. We'll meet the new head football coach in West Fargo. Eric Peterson will join us on taking over the Packers. That's coming up. We wrap up hour one of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Missed the news that broke late yesterday. West Fargo High has a new head football coach after Jay Gibson resigned after 35 years. Guy that I actually covered when he played high school ball way back when, which means I'm old. Eric Peterson will be the new head coach at West Fargo after the last 8 years working at Fargo Davies. He'll take over the Packers this upcoming fall, and he joins us here to chat about getting his first head coach gig in the EDC. Only I can remember the fact you played on those early Davies teams, man, which was a hoot back in the early days. First off, congrats. Tell me about this is a tough job, man. Jay Gibson has been there, for 3+ decades. What made you say this is a job I want to take?
Absolutely. First off, thank you for having me on, Don. I appreciate it. I'm just excited to get going. It's a great opportunity. It'll be a challenge, but we have a ton of talent on the roster, great coaching staff, looking to build that here. That's number one priority, and just get into work now. Obviously, West Fargo has a very rich tradition in football. I'm really looking forward to continuing that tradition and really seeing where that future lies. It'll be a tough job following up a coach like Coach Gibson, but looking forward to the opportunity.
So the last 4 years, I believe you've been D coordinator with Wayne Wehrmeyer at Davies. How much did that prepare you now to take the top job?
The thing with Wayne is he constantly gave me more responsibility. He gave me an opportunity to succeed and really put my fingerprints on that Davies program. I can't say enough how great of a job he's done there, and I'm thankful to have a mentor like Coach Wehrmeyer at Davies. There's no doubt that sustained success will continue, and I can't wait to just continue to follow along with Davies while taking on this new program.
So describe to me on this whole, we were just visiting off air. This is a long process, man, because you interviewed a while ago. Just now that you found out in the last week or so that you got the job. Now, I imagine now it's the rush. It was a long time. Now it's going to be a quick. Describe that of this rush. You got to find a staff and get ready to roll here.
Yeah, there's a lot of meetings that have been scheduled over the last few days, still continuing to be scheduled. I'm just looking forward to getting going here. Now we know we have an answer. We know what the path looks like. Now really grinding, getting into it, and, just laying out that vision into the future here.
How do you see your West Fargo playing? What's going to be a definition of an Eric Peterson coach team, in your opinion?
Physicality, discipline. It's always been kind of a hallmark of West Fargo football. That's not going anywhere. Where we're going to really look to take the next path is we're going to be a fast, physical, hard-nosed football team. If you ask any of the coaches at Davies, I do things a little uniquely, a little different with how I run things. That's not going to change. So you might see a few things that you haven't seen on the field before, but that's just kind of my style, and I'm willing to take chances, take calculated risks, and really looking forward to putting those.
You're teasing us here. Can you give us a little bit? What can we expect to see this fall then?
I don't want to go too into detail. It'll be some new things that we'll see this year.
All right.
Probably a little more passing.
Okay.
Going into this season than we've seen from West Fargo football, especially compared to what we've done at Davies. Been asked if I'm going to take the power T over to Davies. I can tell you no, but that's about all I'll say for.
All right. Well, anytime actually Davies throws the ball, you have to sit back and whoa, what's happening? Because it's not used to that. You're a Davies kid. So describe that rivalry. Davies West Fargo once Davies came on the scene, there was a rivalry with West Fargo. Can you describe that from your perspective, now taking it to the Packers side of things?
Well, I don't know how many of you out there know, including you. Our first varsity win was at West Fargo High School, double overtime. I was the one that caught that game-winning touchdown. So, that I like to see that rivalry started there. But, like you said, it's been a rivalry. We always look forward when we're being at Davies, when we're playing West Fargo. And I mean, it's going to be circled in my calendar this year with Davies. There's a great group of kids here at Davies. And, that was, like I talked to them, that was going to be the hardest conversation is, it's a tough place to leave. But like I told them, it's just another next step in my career. So looking forward to it.
Well, you couldn't have gone out probably in the best way possible with the kind of season you guys had this past fall, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Great group of kids, like I said, and they're going to continue building that program. Wayne's done a great job with them, and it'll continue.
Eric, you had a chance that the late, great Jason Thiel just both coached you and you work with him. Tell me what principles you got from J.O. that you still use now.
The thing that I really picked up from J.O., whether playing for him or coaching alongside him, was always just the passion for the game, building relationships with the kids. That's number one, always his top priority. You could tell just how much he loved the game of football, and, it really built inside me, and it still continues today. I loved J.O., and he was such a great mentor, great coach, great individual. So, I picked up a ton from him.
Now, we mentioned we got to get going here, and I appreciate you doing this morning. So what's you got this? What's on the to-do list here? What do you have for the next little bit, like the top 3 things you got to get done now?
Yeah, I just sent an email this morning to returning coaching staff. We're getting a schedule. We're going to have our first coaches meeting early next week, meeting with the players mid next week. That's a big one there. Really giving a blueprint for our vision moving forward. And then third, just, create leadership, get buy-in to the weight room, really get going, getting ready for summer and into the season.
I have Friday, October 9th is West Fargo at Davies. You already have that one circled? I'm assuming you already know that.
Yep, I already looked at that. Yep. Looking forward to it.
I appreciate the time, but congratulations on the new gig. We'll visit again when we get closer to football season, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Dom.
Appreciate it. There he is, the new head coach at West Fargo, Eric Peterson, taking over the Packers after Jay Gibson resigned last fall. Anytime there's a new coach into the EDC, it's a big deal, especially in 3A football since there's only so few schools. But West Fargo, you may hear it's going to be some changes there, I think, for people to get used to with West Fargo. They only know one thing. Jay's been there for 3+ decades, so I think we've known how West Fargo plays its football, and it's going to look different this upcoming fall. Good stuff there. All right, we'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour with our guy Sam Goetzinger back from Bison Spring Ball. We'll get some thoughts on that. And also, is it okay to bring a laptop to a baseball game? Hard-hitting stuff when we start hour 2 after this.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions. The original line read as this: bunions. You may have heard of them. That was my original line.
Hey, thank you, Dom. Johnny Cool Guys there with the sunglasses on.
That was off the dome.
To the west of
when
Illinois.
I'm looking on it, like okay, west. I shouldn't say
west.
right and left. Is that Missouri?
That is Missouri.
Yes.
That is
it's underneath
Missouri.
Iowa.
Oh,
I'm getting good at this.
he's coming.
So we're going to like the bottom peninsula region.
Peninsula.
Okay, we're going to come back on the ETSU tailgate and then go to you. How am I going to go from a tailgate to bunions?
Okay, good deal.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions.
That could be the name of your podcast. How can we go from a tailgate to bunions?
I think that would fit well.
What's going on?
I'm
fresh off a Bison spring practice.
How do you guys get up this early
What are you
every
talking
single
about?
day? Yeah, I feel like I've been awake for 3 days, and it's been 2 hours. This is
Early
ridiculous.
morning wake up is not
This
your
is not
deal.
my
huh?
jam,
Not
but
your jam.
Got to do it. Got to do it to go to spring ball.
Yeah, so you were up there, just got back.
Yeah.
Week 2 of spring ball is now officially in the books.
If there's two things that'll wake you up, it's the snow and a loud football practice.
Yelling?
Yeah, exactly. that'll wake you up in the morning. Things look good. It looks like a pretty good football team. Nothing new there that they got working over there. Everybody looks massive. We saw that last week when we were there. All the returning guys, they look like they got bigger. Some of the transfers in here look like some pretty big dudes. It's going to be an interesting group. We'll see how they develop over the next 2 seasons.
There's a lot of known quantities, but there's also a lot of question marks as well, if that makes sense.
Yes.
We know, I think defensive line, the buys are going to be really good there. I think they're going to be okay there. I like the defensive ends. The interior of the defensive line, which I know you've been talking to as well, that looks really, really good.
I think they'll be just fine with Keenan Wilson there, Logan Larson back. You got the edge guys there, Sten Broughton. McCaslin had a really good year last year. The only challenge is going to be knowing who's who with all the number changes down there.
Yeah, what is the rash of number changes
I don't
this
know.
year?
Everybody's going to the single digits.
So Nathan Hayes made sense. He told me, he's like, Easton Stick's number 12. I'm going to be my own guy. I'm going to wear number 2, which I fully understand that. But like you mentioned, so Keenan Wilson was wearing number 8 now.
Yep.
McCaslin's wearing number 9
Sten Broughton was
Sten Broughton's at 11 now.
I saw Victor Isley down on the line.
0.
I saw 0 on the defensive end. I was like, who is that again? And so that's going to be
There's a handful of other ones too that have changed. But I think for some this was the number that they were in high school, but didn't have seniority to get the number.
Exactly.
Where the professional ranks, guys just buy their jerseys now. Which
Well,
does not happen in the college ranks.
it's been happening for a couple of years now. The cool thing to do is get the lowest number possible. That's what, in my opinion, nobody wants the 87s anymore. I think they all want the 9s or the 10s.
That's the opposite of like hockey, right? Isn't the high numbers really popular in hockey still?
I would think so, but I think that's a trend that's going down. Like 11 is a pretty big hockey number,
Did you know 10 is the most popular soccer number? If you're 10 in soccer, you're the best player.
Really?
Yes. There's something to take that.
Where did that come from?
I don't know the original, but that's the deal. If you wear 10, you're the best player on the team. That's the way it works. How about we actually talk some players?
Yes, let's do that.
Let's do
that. Yep.
You have a couple stories you're working on. Corner's one that I don't know if we've talked enough about.
I don't think
Bison lost Jalen Duffy and Jaquise Alexander. Their 2 starters are gone. There's some questions there. They added 2 transfers that came in. Out of the Division II ranks.
I spoke to them today, EJ and DJ.
Yeah.
It took me a second to remember which one was which because they're similar sizes. And
that's DJ Volts, who's number 2.
And there's
EJ Davis.
EJ right there. Both really great guys coming over from, one's from the NSIC and the other one from Saginaw Valley. And we talked about the transition coming from the Division II ranks to now you're a Mountain West football player. How crazy is this? And they both really love the idea of going up to the FBS level. It's been a little different just getting used to the pace. I think everybody that it's not just those 2, but everybody that is transferred in is just getting used to the pace and the amount of repetitions you get at practice and the physicality of everything. And these 2 fall into that category as well. But they're both really excited for this. And I think that position group is really intriguing because that does leave, there's some spots there open potentially who's going to go up there and grab it. And both of them have it in the back of their mind that they want to earn the right to move up the depth chart and be starters at that position.
Now, there are returners there, but guys that just have not played a whole lot of football.
Exactly. Yes.
Marion Moore is a redshirt freshman who they really like, but I think he played in 1 game last year. Keegan Huber has been a special teams guy. He's a senior.
But he's kind of the veteran there, and they were telling me that he's kind of led the charge on showing these guys around campus and everything, but you're exactly right. He's been a special teams guy throughout his college career so far. What can he do if the opportunity presents himself to play in that role a little bit more?
Najee Nelson's a guy we saw now 3 years ago when he was a true freshman, and he's been beset by injuries the last couple of years and has not really had a chance to get on the field.
Antoine Booth is another
guy who came in as a transfer. And I mean, typically it's for the guys that we've covered, it's about a year to get in and acclimate, and then hopefully you can produce after that.
You know, for guys like DJ, this is his final year.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's got high expectations for himself and for his team, and he spent 4 years at Saginaw Valley, now has one chance here. He wants to make the most out of it in his final season, so we'll see how he can progress and fit into this defense.
To me, that's a huge position. Going into this conference where there's going to be some elite wide receiver speed, that Bison have to make sure that they've got the guys on the edge that can somehow defend.
Right.
Because we've been used to seeing, all right, well, so-and-so had, like Illinois State had Sopkowitz. You knew you got to have to stop him, but Sopkowitz was 6 foot tall.
Right.
You know, he's not 6'5", who can run a 4.4, which is going to be more normal when you see UNLV, when you see Hawaii speed, when you see some of these other teams out there that can blaze it on the edge. That's not been what NDSU's been used to.
And those two guys told me this morning they're not surprised by that. They know the challenge that they're getting into. And I talked to EJ, who's coming over from Wayne State College, which is out of the NSIC. I said, you know, we're familiar with the NSIC. They got good players, but this is the Mountain West now. And he agreed, it's different. Even going to practice, it's different going up against the guys that are on the team now than what he was used to seeing on a week-in and week-out basis. So we'll see what the development brings in the spring and the fall as we get ready for the season. But they know what's ahead of them.
I was visiting with one of the new offensive line commits who told me, I had no idea in Fargo, like, they know the offensive lineman by first name. That's the deal. And there's a new offensive lineman for Bison fans to know. They know the last name in Anene. Kene is here, who is transferred in from the University of Kansas after spending a couple years there. The Bison tried really hard to get him out of high school, out of East Ridge, to commit. He went the FBS route. Now is transferred, and he looks, I mean, you look at him, he is a mountain of a man.
He's personality-wise very similar to his brother, Toby. A little quiet, but, you know, they're just big dudes, and they're aggressive. He was telling me today he has actually never gone one-on-one with his brother, Toby. But if they did, and they will, he said, he would win that battle. So let that describe anything.
6'5", 310. He's all of it, too.
Just a huge dude, and a lot of length, good speed. He's also one of those guys that fits in the category coming here, transferring from Kansas, and the practice schedule is much different than what it was in Kansas. So he's had to get used to that throughout the spring. But it seems like, and what Coach Polasek said this morning, that it's been a steady progression for him, and I think he could be a home run get for this North Dakota State team.
They really need him to work out, because if he pans out at right tackle, that will allow them to move Magan inside and play Empey at center. If it doesn't, because I think Empey's positional flexibility, another great coached word now.
Hey, look at you. Wow.
They want him at center, and then the left side is set with Babbitts at left tackle and Tosted at left guard. That's pretty good if they can make that work.
It sounds like Tosted's really improved as well, both with his size and, of course, now having a year of experience under his belt. So he could be a big part of this offensive line, too. But Nene's going to be a really good fit. His hands are huge. He shook my hand, almost broke it earlier today. He's a big guy.
Well, and Polasek said this, and I know you were when we were up there last Friday, that they're not going to be messing around with the offensive line like last year. They cannot do that. I think when I was still asking the question on game 12 that they're still didn't have the set 5, I think that's not going to be the case in 2026. They're going to have their 5 guys, and these are going to be the ones who are going to go out there and play.
I think it's good, too, to get these guys reps with each other and everything like that. And now that a lot of those guys returning have college football experience, but this is a new level now. But I totally agree with you. You don't want to be shuffling that around here at the FBS.
But it's not out of the realm of possibility that Jack Lewinsky and Nate Schneckloff, that is his name, Schneckloff, despite what Polasek says, could find themselves as 6 and 7. I think Lewinsky was such a highly touted guy coming out of Minnetonka. They thought he was going to be, and it just hasn't panned out for him yet.
No, not yet. It seems like there's been some...
Remember, he started a couple games
Is it fair to say he's had some position flexibility as well? He's kind of moved around a little bit.
The center was there
looking to
guard.
solidify himself in the guard position. But it's always great to have depth in that position group. There's no doubt. It's not like we're going to see the same 5 guys for every single snap of every single game this season.
You'd like that, I think.
Well, right,
their
exactly. But that's just, in most cases, that's just not realistic. But there's definitely guys like that can step up. And I'm going to blank on some names here, but I think there's some guys that maybe didn't get the opportunity last year, redshirted last year, and they have a good shot of making it in the rotation as well.
Is it Coy Okeson's time? After he's been here, this is his third year, so coming into his third fall. That's normally it's time to get going. And I think Polasek mentioned this as well when he was here last month, that the wait time is way shorter now. In FBS, we got to know.
Right.
And I think with the portal part of this as well, it's about a year and a half. If you can figure it out, if you can't, we're moving on.
Yeah,
that's the way it's going to be now.
It's just the way college athletics is.
And it's certainly in FCS football or FBS football, it's certainly going to be the case now on that. There's a couple other. Alex Warden's a young one that came in last year as a true freshman.
He looks the part as
Gavin
well.
Wang looks like he's 41 years old.
He definitely
he's
looks
huge
the part.
Guy.
Got one of the better beards I think I've seen.
He and Xander
around.
Smith, literally, they're both redshirt freshmen, could literally look like they play in the NFL.
Right, exactly. They came in last year, their freshman season. Who is this guy? Where did they pull him out of? No, just out of high school. I think Gage Schmidt is another one too. It sounds like he's doing pretty well in that
potentially
center position.
Center as well.
Yep, exactly.
How about wide receiver? It caught your eye there, because that to me, after we know Mekhi Collins, Jackson Williams, after that there is question mark there.
Mike's going to have McFeely's going to have a story about this later, and I thought it was interesting because he asked Coach Polasek about old Johnny Gores, and it sounds like there's a potential that he could carve out a little bit of a role for himself this year. So that would be intriguing. He's just a great story, good kid, and he's fun to watch. When you get the ball in his hands, and he's made a couple of good plays over the last couple of years. So we'll see what his role is a little bit.
Without
more.
John Gores, they do not win the game at East Tennessee State.
Absolutely.
Just remember that the 4th and 10 play that Cam Miller hit him on the sideline.
Even the punt fumble recovery somehow he came up
he got the ball back.
He made 2 or 3 huge plays in that game to avoid.
How did they win that game?
I don't know.
I still don't get that.
Still blows my mind that they were able to do that. Kate Osterman as well came in, and that's another guy who's around. Yep. Kate had a big catch in that game. So of course Jackson Williams is a speed guy.
I look at the 2 North Dakota guys. St. Romain and Conklin are gonna have to give him something. I think this year.
I think St. Romain could be a big part of this team. Even seeing him in limited spurts last year, he had that touchdown against the Citadel, and he's another one who looks the part as well. He's physically mature. He can get up there, and I think he's going to be a big one. I
got 2 guys to keep an eye on for the rest of the spring and then in the fall camp. Chris Keel.
Yes.
Who they really liked last year, who played in a handful of games, and Dylan Vocal, kid out of Maple Grove. Those are
I have to
guys.
see more of Dylan Vocal. I haven't seen a ton of him yet, but I would agree that I think he could play a big spot here.
S.J. Green's another one that redshirted last year that they really like, who's a speedster. And they have a couple coming in as well. It's not another real possibility that a guy that gets here in June could play when we get to late August.
Right. There's no doubt about that. It's always nice to have extra weapons here, but it is big shoes to fill with Bryce Lance and Raja Nelson. The list goes on.
Chris Harris. I mean,
exactly. That's a lot of size. It's not going to be as tall of a wide receiver group as we saw last season, but it's sure going to be a speedy one.
I think his email comes in, Dom, the misses in the offensive line really have come home to roost over the last 2 years. They're exactly right. And I think, Mike, I know he and I talked about it yesterday, because there are 2 classes back-to-back. The Bison got nothing out of offensive line. 2022 and 2021 classes, I believe. Outside of Bo Johnson, and that's no fault. They developed Bo.
Right.
Other than that, they got 0, and that is so unlike NDSU.
But I feel like I strongly think that that's starting to change a little bit here. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
With Babbage coming in, even Thieneman, see what he can do when he gets here as well. The classes that they've recruited over the last year and a half or so have looked pretty impressive as of so far, but what can they do on the field? That's the real question. And these portal additions like Anene, I think could really make a big impact.
All right, we'll break. We come back. We get the hard-hitting stuff for Sam. Did you see what we teased going to break with?
No, I didn't. I was walking over.
Would you bring a laptop to a baseball game like this guy did and work at Wrigley Field? Like, what are you doing? Why would you bring a laptop to a game? We'll do that when Hot Mike returns after this. Oh, welcome back, everybody. Obe Blanc, NDSU wrestling head coach, coming up here in about 15 minutes. Back with Sam Goetzinger here. What do you make of that, by the way?
Good for them, honestly.
Well, you and I have called quite a bit of wrestling over the last couple years. We've seen, it's a transition here for wrestling to get its feet back under them after the amount of guys that left after the 2023 season. But that top of the Big 12, man, is a different stratosphere of wrestlers.
Unbelievable. There's just no way they were going to compete with the Oklahomas.
And they haven't even played wrestled against Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, I want to say, in the last handful of years.
Right, exactly. No, they haven't. I think one of them was like 2017, 2018.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
For Oklahoma State, I believe.
Iowa State we've seen.
Iowa State.
And they're in a
They
different...
have a massive NIL pockets, and they've only bolstered their program. Northern Iowa as well.
Is good, yes.
Missouri is ranked in there.
Yep.
It's going to be so tough for a mid-major school to compete at that level. So that's why, to me, this move to the Pac-12, it makes sense because it'll be more competitive. You have a shot at a conference championship.
And also part of this as well, the Big 12 always had its meets in Tulsa, which is a de facto home meet for both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. In the Pac-12, they rotate hosts. So Fargo will get a chance to host this
That'd
thing.
Be awesome.
Once they get into it and Frank, it may be seen as a step down in competition. Frankly, and I get Obi into this more because he can explain it better than I can. For seeding purposes for the NCAAs, you have a better chance to be a higher seed in the Pac-12 than you could in the Big 12, simply because Bison were routinely seeded between 11 and 33 at the end of the national tournament.
And why wouldn't you want that?
Right.
Why wouldn't you want the higher seed? I really think South Dakota State and Oregon State are going to be pretty solid in there. But
South Dakota State was already pretty good in the Big 12.
Exactly. Now move them over into the Pac-12. But hopefully NDSU can really jumpstart some stuff. They've got some good recruits coming in as well. They're looking to the North Dakota ranks, it seems, a little bit here. And hopefully it leads to some fun seasons coming up.
A report out as well that they're not done. There may be another school coming in that's out of the Big 12. So because I think Wyoming was the one that everybody thought that maybe.
But
they
Wyoming's
would go.
also
They've
competitive
been pretty salty
in the Big 12.
In that,
You know, I think that's if
Utah
you want to call
Valley
there
was the other one
a wrestling
I thought.
school, Utah Valley is decent.
Because you called that with Utah Valley. I called Wyoming, and they were good.
Wyoming's good. Utah Valley is probably a step down, maybe closer to North Dakota State and some of the others that are making their way to the Pac-12. So I think that would make sense. Wyoming, I want to say they hang their hat on wrestling, so I don't know if they'd be too keen to leave the Big 12, but what do I know?
Well, we'll see. Air Force is also moving, and
That'd be a good one.
They've always had...
They've been competitive with North Dakota State.
They had the number one wrestler in the country in heavyweight a couple years ago. And I called
impressive.
that, this guy was amazing.
He was impressive. Utah Valley had the number one guy for a little bit there, too, transferring over from Penn State back to Utah, and they were really good with him, but he's gone now, so that's a different story over there.
I heard you were in the back when we went through our food orders there. Any of
How
those?
have you never had lobster?
I'm not that big a deal. Apparently you are to afford lobster. Lobster's pricey, is it not?
Well, yes. But you're from New York. That's on the ocean.
Here we go.
You can just go out your back
go
door.
To geography
you can go out your back door and get a lobster. Just go dig in the shoreline. You'd be fine.
That's out my back door, yes. My dad can just go out and get any kind of lobster he wants right now.
That's the
I
thing.
have not. Would you eat any of that at the ball game? Some of that seems like it's too much.
I would eat that. I would be very upset about paying $40 for that, but I would eat it. I would wait in line for however long it takes to make that 2 hours. I feel like you missed the entire game. This is good.
That's the fish and chicken one.
Do you get to keep the boat?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, then I'm all on board with that.
You want that coming up? You bring that into your office, hey, what's that? Oh, I ate out of it last night at the Mariners game.
I got some chicken tender basket out of a boat, and this would be good. Lobster.
The lobster poutine. Eric, is this the one you said that was $40? I forget how much this was.
Yeah,
that's it's lobster.
That's
though.
The box doesn't look $40 worth, but I mean, I hope the
probably
food,
will
I'm a big
disintegrate.
I like poutine. I'm a big fan of that type of food, so that would be good.
That one.
Would you ever have lobster if it was in front of you?
Yeah, I want to try it, absolutely. Because
we go to
really
all
good.
these steakhouses all over the country.
Yeah, we haven't steak.
You didn't.
Yeah. This is the
lobster
one.
and steak, surf and turf, by the way.
Yes, I had that actually in Baltimore. When the Bison played Towson, I had that out there. It wasn't lobster, but I had shrimp.
It was like shrimp?
It was fantastic. This one I would do in a heartbeat.
Yes, that does look aggressive.
This one too.
I don't think I would.
No?
Well, one, it's got pesto, and I'm allergic to nuts, and apparently pesto has nuts in it.
Yeah.
Good thing I didn't learn that the hard way, but I don't know if I would want pizza on my donuts. That's just me.
Yeah, see, that's the mind-bending one, with the chicken at the Yankee Stadium one.
Yes,
It's an ice cream. Like this one here is loaded. Like this, my gosh.
That'd be great.
You'd be full for
but
days.
I would have an allergic reaction,
Yeah,
so I can't eat that one.
Like the chicken one, the last one at the Yankee Stadium that looks like a piece of fried chicken, but it's actually ice cream.
That would be interesting. Like I would
it's a
eat
mind bend. Like I'm prepared to have something salty,
Right.
and then I bite into it and it's sweet. Like nah.
How big are those? Because like 2 doesn't seem like enough.
Well, Eric said they were like $11, so they're probably not that big.
Okay, well. 11.
If I
you're going to keep the bucket,
yes,
then it makes
yeah,
sense.
it's commemorative bucket
then
there.
it makes sense.
Now, last thing before we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I was watching the Cubs game. The Cubs were playing at Wrigley Field, and they spotted a guy in the outfield. And granted, those were first come, first serve for the seats in the bleachers at Wrigley Field, which is a great spot to watch a game. On his laptop,
like just doing work because it was in the middle.
Look
of
at
the
this
day?
guy, just hammering away. Like,
see now this
what
looks
are you
like
doing?
this looks like you at Bison spring practice hammering out a story for the news. So like it makes sense.
Game.
But at this point,
What's this guy doing?
why even bother?
Like,
either don't do the work or don't go to the game. Why do you got to mix them together?
And then if his bosses thought that, hey,
exactly.
took the day off, and wait a minute, you're brought it
At
to
least
the
in
game?
that video, they did a good job of covering the face
Yes,
with
they did.
the big hat. But is anything that important?
If you're sitting next to that guy, you say, hey, buddy, what are you doing?
I'd take the laptop. I'd slam it down. Say, hey, there's a game going on here, man. Go get your $30 cheese curds. Come back here and leave the laptop.
There are certain ballparks you cannot do that. Like in Philadelphia, that guy's laptop would be out. Would be out the door.
Well, I'm
man.
amazed you can even get that stuff into the ballpark.
Yeah,
these
that's a good
days,
point too. Like there's certain screening. Like how do you get that through?
Right? You think they would have?
Is he
some
doing like a fantasy
quarrel
football
about...
thing? Like what's he doing?
That's a good point. What work is as important to miss the Cubs game that you're at?
As you said, then don't go, man.
Exactly. Just do it at home. Just do it at home.
So silly.
They look cold there anyway.
Yeah, right? All right. I think we covered all the basics here today. We covered all the important stuff.
Did we get the stuff there? All right.
I think we did.
We'll lead you to the big guns to talk wrestling now.
So you've got a story coming up tonight on Alex Elliott.
I do.
Out.
That's going to be it's a fun story. It was fun chatting with him. It's his 4th year of college football, but he's yet to play snap yet. And
That's unbelievable.
Just knock on wood. He's a really, really great kid. Yep. He focused last year on just helping his teammates away from the field, and he even said he did some community work as well. While he was dealing with injuries, so you just hope that this year he can make an impact at the linebacker position.
Hudson, Minnesota, which is a great athletic town, and we'll hopefully
he's
get a
another
chance to
guy
see him.
who's massive.
Another big dude is
He's
exactly
a big
right.
guy.
Great to see you, bud. Thanks for coming by.
Absolutely.
Sam Goetzinger, fresh off of Bison spring practice, coming here to his usual Thursday spot. We'll break. We come back. Obe Blanc will join us on the Bison wrestling team finding a new home. That's coming up when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. This is the new look Pac-12 Wrestling Conference. We found out yesterday North Dakota State joining the likes of Oregon State, Air Force, Northern Colorado, Northern Illinois, Little Rock, Bakersfield, Cal Poly, and the Jackrabbits will make up where the Bison wrestling team will be home starting next fall. It's great to have wrestling coach at North Dakota State, Obe Blanc, back with us to give us the lowdown on another conference move. We got all excited on the Bison football team heading west. Wrestling's going to do the same. It's great to see you, bud. How long has this been in the works? Give us the lowdown on this.
It's been something that's been brought up for a little bit of time now, but I don't think we really gave it a ton of thought until maybe recently. I think it's more doing our due diligence and really pondering for ourselves. Does this make sense? Is there something we want to do? What are the upsides, not just now, but into the future? And and so it was something that when we did the math, we thought it added up, being a good decision for us. And then so our administration, we just got together and decided to do it.
For reaction-wise for your team, I know they're maybe scattered right now. How did you tell them, and what was that reaction?
Yeah, no, we just told them at practice before one of our workouts and told the guys, here's what we're thinking. Here's the logic behind it. And, I think they're on board. They're excited about the opportunity to compete for championships, and both as a team, as individuals. And one of the things we looked at is really what gives us the best path to putting the most athletes at the NCAA tournament. And not only that, but put them at the best position. Something that I think the committee looks at when it comes to seeding is winning a conference title. I think that weighs heavily. And then, for us, we're seeing like, man, we took third, fourth at the Big 12 or something, and that's a guy that we beat that just won this conference, that conference, and then they're getting seated above us. And statistically, when we look at it, it's like, hey, you want to be in that top 16 seed. Gives you the best footing to do well. I mean, for us, I thought we had a very strong season, but just to weigh some more seeds. I mean, we saw the guy that won the championship in at least 2 weights this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, we got some pretty good guys, but I think when you're matching up against, potentially the NCAA champ first round, just doesn't help your case as much. And it's like, yeah, you want to beat everybody, but it's nice to get that maybe second, third round where you kind of get on a roll. And I think our guys do really well when they get on a roll a little bit.
How much does that, Obi, open up the opportunity with a new league to say, okay, we can get a guy seated in the top 8 now with a better record and have a chance then to have a run at the NCAA championship?
Oh, I mean, that's huge. That's huge just with your confidence and in momentum. Momentum's a big thing, right? Everyone there is pretty good. And I think once you get some wins under your belt, you get that momentum. It just boosts your confidence and gets everyone excited, gets your teammates, fan base. These things are a big deal. And so we're excited about that. That's just one parameter, that we looked at, the opportunity to have more home competitions, right? Currently we don't wrestle everyone in the Big 12. And so just the opportunity to wrestle everyone in that conference, home and away, is a big deal. And then and another part was, that conference was on the verge of not having enough teams to get automatic bids. And then, when you look at it, part of, the mission is to grow the sport, right? And, we want to keep that conference alive. And so want to get them that 6 automatic teams. And it just made sense long-term for their sport and the viability for student athletes to have opportunities to compete at this level.
As I understood it as well, do they rotate the conference tournament? Is that a chance you guys would get a chance to host this as well?
Yep. That's one of the parameters. And then really, I think what we were intrigued too was just the opportunity to kind of decide what we want to do.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, do we want to rotate this around each institution? Do we want to pick a couple sites for a 4-year cycle and then change it around? Do we want to keep it at one place for X amount of years? We have a lot of say in how things are governed a little bit in terms of what's best for our fans, what's best for the sport, just the product overall. And so I think that was something that was intriguing for us is being able to kind of decide our fate a little bit in how we do this.
Obi, on like the maybe dissenters or people would say, well, this looks like a step down in competition. How would you respond to that?
Oh, I would disagree. I mean, we're seeing some of the teams we've already competed against that are going into the pack that were in the Big 12, and we've already competed against Oregon State multiple times and throughout the year. But wrestling is, you can compete against anyone you want, right? We know, hey, these are our conference opponents, but we also, you look at us this year, right? We're in the Big 12, but we had at one point the 5th toughest schedule in the country, and that was including a lot of teams outside of our conference. And so we are going to approach it the same way. We're going to take from the Big 10, the ACC, the Big 12, and in the pack, and put the best schedule together for our guys to see some high quality opponents.
I got to go back here to the end of the year with the win over South Dakota State. How big a deal was that to launch into? I know you didn't have the individual success at the NCAAs, but can you take that into the offseason with a win like that?
Yes, definitely. I think so, and it's good for our guys to see the fruit of their labor, and good for our fan base, and really what it's about is they are a very quality team, and it just kind of gave us a metric where we were at, and just heading into postseason, that's a big deal, right? And when you're talking about seeding,
Yep.
when you are talking about conference allocations and having quality wins, those all go towards that. But it's just, for us, it's just, we just want to get better. We want to have great results, and they were a team that was in that top 20, and then knocking them off is obviously felt great, just partly because it's a bit of a rival, right? But overall, this is something that we want to do all the time. And so I think it's a great validation point for our guys to understand, like, hey, we can do things like this often.
I don't know if people understood how volatile the roster shakeup was after when you got the job. And I now hear 3 years into it, do you feel like, okay, things have finally settled down, we're recruiting the guys I want to get here, that we're moving in a direction and now moving to this new league that I want to be going towards?
Yeah, no, it's something you deal with often, and things like that, especially at that year one, that transition. And just, parts of it was, hey, this is where we want to go. This is where we want to achieve. And, I think it's like, hey, some guys were like excited. Some guys like, I don't know if I want that, I think for us now as a staff, we get to recruit guys like, hey, this is what we're about. This is what we want. We are going to compete against some very, very tough individuals. We are wrestling Penn State, and we want to go beat those guys. Like, we're not afraid. We want to compete hard. We want to compete against the very best. And if that's not for you, this is not the place. But I feel like we have those guys, and they're excited. And like I said, when I talked with our team about making this transition, they're excited. They're like, yeah, we're not going there just to be in a conference. We're going there we want to be top dog. And I love that mentality that our guys have, and it's something that we work hard to instill, and it's great to see them embody it and protect that within the team.
You're still a young team as well, and I think again in wrestling, I'll ask this: how we see it in other sports, but how important is it to have juniors, seniors there for success at your sport? It seems obvious, but I'll ask it: how important is it to have some old guys there?
It is very important.
Yeah.
It's very important when you look at those guys that are placing right at the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Majority of them are going to be juniors and seniors. Just it's experience, right? You get better over time, and I think the motivation too. Like, hey, this is my last year. You know what I mean? It's burn the boats mentality. So you're going to see those juniors and seniors be the guys who are performing really well. I mean, we only graduate one of our starters. Everyone else is back, and we're still on the younger side in that regard still.
How big a deal is that, though, to have maybe that stability going into next year with a new league? Okay, that most of our lineup we're going to have back next fall.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's exciting. And like I said, the thing for us is these guys have taken the ownership part of, like, we want this, right? And helping them understand, like, hey, it's not about me. It's not about our staff in terms of our goal. We want to be a very good team. We want to be a top 20, top 10 team on a yearly basis. But at the end of the day, they are the one who have to believe that and desire that. And we're seeing guys and I think they kind of got to see, like, how close they were. And it's like, hey, I just lost a guy that won the Nationals, and I was 3-4 points away. You know what I mean? And I think for them, they kind of get to see how close they are. And in a lot of our matches at national tournaments, it's like, hey, we were one mistake away or one decision, and you turn left instead of right, and all of a sudden you're on the podium. Those are the things I think our guys got to see, that validation point, and they're like, wow, we're really not that far. So I think that's something they kind of get together, they get excited about seeing what's possible. And I think for them, they want that. They want to protect that. They want to go achieve these things. And I think that's the making of a very good team.
Last thing for you, and I did the match when Cal Baptist was here. You've been in wrestling your entire life, how difficult was that to see, especially how it ended with them?
Right.
Because it was ugly. Just your thoughts on, I know you weren't there, but just you experienced it. I know you guys took a picture with them after the match of, we don't want to see any programs going away. How difficult was that for you to follow when that happened?
Yeah, no, it's tough. And, like I said before, we want more opportunities for young people to be in athletics. Especially a sport like wrestling being such a character sport. There's not a pro league that these guys go into. And so this is a bit of the pinnacle for a lot of them. And the fewer programs that are out there, I don't think that's good for any sports. In my opinion, there's a reason why some of our best student athletes, or some of the best employees, because they're used to the adversity, they're used to the being the backup for 3-4 years, and then eventually being the person that starts, or just really used to dealing with adversity and work ethic. I think these are great things, obviously in athletics, but in the real world, in real life. I think the more opportunities we have, the better. I think they're still fighting, right? They're fighters. And I hope the program's reinstated. But for us going into it, and we understood that, hey, this is just part of life as well. It's a reality, and we can only control what we can control. And we're going to go out there and compete against this team, and we're not going to disrespect them by not competing hard, right? Yeah. And they understand that's why they're in this sport as well. And for us, it was an honor to compete against them, because at the end of the day, we had a lot of respect for them, knowing what's ahead of them and still getting up and doing the work.
It's great to catch up, bud. Thanks so much for giving us the lowdown on this. Be well, and we'll talk again soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go Bison.
There he is, Obe Blanc, head coach of the Bison wrestling team, off to the Pac-12 starting next year with a couple familiar faces and some new friends the Bison will be wrestling against next year. Let's take our final break. We come back, we'll get a couple emails in and get you ready for a pretty good Sports Thursday. Twins are playing, Wild are playing, Wolves are playing. Hot Michael Rapp on WDAY Extra right after this. I would take some sun here on a day like today. Wrapping things up tomorrow. We'll end the week in style. Corey Provis will join us to get ready for the Twins home opener against Tampa. That's coming up on our show tomorrow. A couple other fun guests as well we got lined up to wrap up the week in style and send us off to the holiday weekend and get ready for the Final Fours, both for the women tomorrow night and the men on Saturday night in Indianapolis. Let's get a few emails in here before we say goodbye. Dom, wow, Columbia. They walked through the WBIT, not one close game. Hard to believe they weren't selected in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, if you missed that last night, Columbia routed BYU by 20. So the team that came in here and into the Bison season ends up winning the WBIT. Let's just say the seeding on that was wrong. That's not, I mean, the Bison didn't play well. They weren't going to win that game. But, I mean, hindsight being what it was, why were they a 4? They should have easily been a 2 and somewhere else. Just my 2 cents after that. Appreciate that email. Dom, we in Fargo have good options to watch Bison games through, like Midco options, which I'm on. But what options do you think Bison fans located in faraway places that have relied on, such as ESPN Plus, will have now? This is going back to our conversation on the football scheduling deal. All I tell you right now, you're going to need CBS Sports app. You're going to need Fox's app. You're going to need the Mountain West app whenever that launches this summer. Those 3 right off the top would come to my mind. The CW, I think they have one. You're gonna need that if you want to watch their games that way. Yeah, it's going to be completely different from how you're used to, especially if you're outside of the 518-103 or 58103 zip code. You're going to need something different there to watch Bison football for this upcoming year. That's, again, if you're used to it, if you're an NFL fan and I already have 10 different streaming options to watch the game, then you're all set probably for college football. But if you haven't done that, that's going to be the route to go down for Bison football this fall, and it ain't changing anytime soon on that. That's just where the state of the game is in terms of its revenue and in terms of its networks. That's where things are at. Let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. Appreciate the emails today. Good stuff there. All right, Twins and Royals coming up today, 1 o'clock on Twins TV. You've got Taj Bradley making his second start. Cole Reagan's the left-hander for Kansas City. Will be going if the Twins can avoid a sweep after getting their brains beat in last night, down 12-1 at one point, lost 13-9. The Wolves have 7 games to go tonight in Detroit against the really good Pistons who beat Minnesota on Saturday. That's on Amazon Prime tonight at 6 o'clock. Ant is back. No Jaden McDaniels. Not sure when he's going to be back. That's a big deal. That's tonight on Prime. And NIT semifinals, our guy Bowden Scunberg and Mason Claiborne action. Illinois State against Auburn on ESPN at 8:30. We leave you with the first ABS walk-off ever in the Orioles-Rangers game. This was called a ball. They challenged it with 2 strikes. They come back and look at it. Lo and behold, it was a strike, and that's how the game ends. Welcome to a new era in baseball, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Be careful out there. See you back here tomorrow.